Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and compare the iPhone 14 Pro Max against the iPhone 13 Pro Max and see which one is the better one for you. Now, I've said this before, I think if you have an iPhone 13 Pro Max, I probably wouldn't go to the Pro Max, the 14 one, but I guess we'll see what happens. If you want to pick up either one of these phones, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there, you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, there are a few key differences between both. On the iPhone 13 Pro Max, we had a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display, and it was a pretty big upgrade coming from the 12 Pro Max in my opinion. This thing was the first time we saw ProMotion on an iPhone, and this was a massive deal. Now we still have the notch, but it's not a bad display. It's not a bad phone by any means, and honestly, this is a very good phone still in my opinion. On the 14 Pro Max, this one I just got my hands on it, so obviously I haven't had as much time to kind of marinate on it as the 13 Pro Max, but this one is the same size, 6.7 inches, but apparently the bezel is a little bit thinned out on the side. I don't know if you were able to tell that when I showed you, but you can tell a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. We still have ProMotion on here, which is cool. However, with the notch up top, that's where you can kind of tell what the bigger difference is. So you can see that we now have pretty much this, what is it, a dynamic island display or whatever. I think it's cool and everything, but you can see from the notch before, it's not that big. I mean, it's a big difference, don't get me wrong. It's cool, but I don't know. I got so used to the notch that I'm not used to this at all. So it may take a while. I don't know if I'll ever get used to it, to be honest, but it's definitely a big change. But that's a cool thing for sure. In terms of thickness and thickness, we no longer have SIM card trays on the iPhone 14s, so you can see where a SIM card tray used to be on our iPhone 13 Pro Max right there. It's now missing on our 14 Pro Max, which is kind of strange. In terms of the size, there's really not much else going on. Pretty much the same thickness. On the back, we do have our camera setups. Now, the white one is the 14 Pro Max, and I thought it was going to be a bigger camera difference. It doesn't really seem like it. For me seeing it in real life and now, it's definitely a little bit of a thicker camera module. If you can kind of tell from this angle, it's definitely a little bit thicker, but I don't know. It doesn't really seem, I mean, they both kind of seem the same heaviness. It's not really that big of a difference there either. So that's kind of the biggest thing I could probably tell you. Now, in terms of the outside, that kind of covers it up. There's really not that much else going on between both. They both have MagSafe capability, frosted glass backs, which feel really good. Wireless charging, still no reverse wireless charging on the 14 Pro Max. Lightning ports, still no USB-C. LiDAR sensors between both, which is awesome. And that honestly kind of covers it up on the outside. There's really not too much else going on. Of course, you have things like crash detection on the 14 Pro Max, emergency SOS satellite mode, which is really cool as well. And definitely those are some really big upgrades. But I don't know, if I had a 13 Pro Max, I probably wouldn't go up to a 14 Pro Max and just because of those features, but it's kind of up to you. Now, one of the big things I want to state here is that with the 13 Pro Max, you are having that A15 chipset inside of it. Now, the reason I bring that up is because the iPhone 14s have that chipset inside for the base models. The 14 Pro Max is a little bit of a different story. So what I want to talk about now is software and longevity. If you get something like the iPhone 13 Pro Max, it may not last as long as the iPhone 14 Pro Max, but it may last as long as something like the iPhone 14 Plus. So I don't know if that's something that's kind of a big deal to you. So I say that to say I don't think the iPhone 13 Pro Max is going to have a short lifespan. I think this iPhone is going to last for a very long amount of time. But I also think the exact same thing for the 14 Pro Max. Yes, I do think the 14 Pro Max is going to outlast the iPhone 13 Pro Max, but I also do think it may be pretty much within a year. So I say that to say you can't really go wrong with either one of these phones. I think if you get something like the iPhone 14 Pro Max, that is still a very long-lasting phone. It's going to last longer than the 13 Pro Max, but the 13 Pro Max is also going to last quite a bit of time as well. Now, I did forget to kind of hit on the always-on display. I think it's cool. I mean, I need to find a way to disable it because I just keep thinking my display is on. And at the level that this is, I would be very surprised if it doesn't have a massive hit on battery because I honestly do think it does with the way this is kind of tailored. I wish it was just a time or something, but the fact that they have the wallpaper kind of timed up too, it's kind of crazy. So now let's go do a speed comparison between the two. Like I said, the 14 Pro Max has that Apple A16 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 13 Pro Max has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigs of RAM as well. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both. All right, now that we're back, I hate how the light keeps coming up right here, but there's really no other way I can film this right now. Let's go and load it up. 14 Pro Max is here, 13 Pro Max is here. Let's get into it. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Okay, pretty much the same thing. Music 3, 2, 1. And the 14 Pro Max was actually slower there, which was very interesting. These are basically brand new phones, by the way. This is the brand new iPhone 13 Pro Max I just bought. App Store 3, 2, 1. Very, very interesting. So I don't know why that happened. Like I said, I've been on both app stores on both, so I don't know why that happened on both. Let's go hop out of this one. Let's go and get into something like podcast 3, 2, 1. Okay, a little bit of a, I guess, faster experience on the iPhone 14. News 3, 2, 1. Okay, this one is going to be very interesting. And yet the iPhone 13 Pro Max open it up faster. This is the first time I've opened up either of these applications on this phone ever. So again, that's very weird. I don't even know why I didn't get a continue sign on this phone. So Apple TV 3, 2, 1. Okay, I think that kind of covers that one up. Let's go and get into something like camera 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go and take a photo 3, 2, 1. Okay, so one did it on night mode, one didn't. Okay, let's go and open this photo up. Pretty much the exact same experience. And from kind of maneuvering through these the last, a little bit of time I've had them, there's really not that big of a difference in the ProMotion. So I wouldn't go from one phone over the other because one is like a way better display. Apparently the 14 Pro Max display gets brighter, but doesn't really seem like it's that big of a deal right now. It's going to load up these apps. Twitter 3, 2, 1. 13 Pro Max again is a faster one. Facebook 3, 2, 1. 14 Pro Max a little bit faster there. Let's go ahead and do something like Bofa 3, 2. I don't have it here. Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. So a little bit of a bigger game, so it may take a little bit more time. I don't know why I got these pop-ups on this one. I literally opened, I don't know why I got these two on this one. I already opened this game up on this one. So it's very, very strange. But I think it would have been a little bit closer. I don't think it would have been this big of a difference. But still, I think maybe the 14 Pro Max would have been the faster one here. But for it to be that big of a difference again, I don't know if that would have been the case. Snapchat 3, 2, 1. Okay, 14 Pro Max faster. Instagram 3, 2, 1. 14 Pro Max again is the faster one. Let's go and do Snake First Blocks 3, 2, 1. And kind of the same thing on both. Really not that big of a difference. So from the applications I tested, I don't know if there's like a clear winner. It kind of went back and forth quite a bit. I want to say the 14 Pro Max was the faster one, or I wanted to be the faster one. But for the 13 Pro Max to be faster in really any way at all is very weird. This was very controlled. This was not a 13 Pro Max that I use consistently. I just bought this thing like the other day, and it like is pretty much brand new. So that kind of covers up the speed comparison. I'll probably be doing a full one very soon. In terms of the cameras, though, this is probably one of the bigger differences this year. So we get the same type of experience. So we get like the wide, ultra-wide telephoto lenses on both with a LiDAR sensor, 4K 60 on the back and the front. We do get a higher megapixel count on the 14 Pro Max at 48 megapixels, which is cool. I don't know if it's that necessary, but it's a cool feature that we have. We're also getting stabilization mode, and now we can do 4K at our cinematic mode, which is really cool as well. Now, personally, I think the 13 Pro Max camera is probably one of the best cameras I've used last year, and even now it's still a very good camera that holds up very, very well in my opinion. I think if you were wanting to get probably still one of the best cameras that on any phone, I think this is still a very solid option. It's very consistent. I think they've done a great job with this camera last year, and definitely if you need a phone with a really good camera, this is probably one of the best ones you can buy, like I said. Is it perfect? No, there's still no 8K on either one of these phones. You are lacking things like that super stabilization mode that we have on the 14 Pro Max, as well as a higher megapixel count, and probably that, 4K on cinematic mode. But other than that, I don't really think those are any reasons why I would go from a 13 Pro Max to a 14 Pro Max. And I will be honest, this is a really good camera too. The 14 Pro and this one have very solid lenses, which I'm really, really happy about. See, this is the thing I don't like about the always on display. I don't know when the phone is on or off. It will basically be able to handle every single little thing that you throw at it. Also, I feel like it's a smoother experience. As you can see, zooming in and out is much smoother than it was before. So that's actually very, very awesome. And that was one of the biggest complaints I had about the Android phones, to be honest. But definitely this is the better phone here. You're going to be getting a better experience. Like I said, video mode is going to be enhanced as well. But if I already had an iPhone 13 Pro Max, I would not go to a 14 Pro Max because of the camera. But unlike the 14s, the base 14s, this is a good upgrade for the cameras for sure. So, and honestly, if I kind of can wrap up the video now, I definitely do think going from an iPhone 13 Pro Max to a 14 Pro Max is a bigger upgrade than going from an iPhone 13 to an iPhone 14. I think the iPhone 13 Pro Max, I'll get into this one in a second, but the 14 Pro Max, I mean, it has everything going for it. Kind of newer design, kind of newer display, which is really nice. Always on display, which is really cool. Better cameras, better performance, better battery life. So we're told. We'll have to test that further. But I do think the 14 Pro Max is probably one of the best iPhones you can buy. However, with something like the iPhone 13 Pro Max, this is still a very good iPhone. This is still perfect in my opinion. And this phone pretty much has everything going for it. I think this is the phone I would recommend buying if you're wanting to get one in the used market. You can probably find these things probably in the next like 2 or 3 months for probably less than $700 if I'm being honest. They're probably reaching 750 right now, maybe within a few weeks. But that's kind of how I would sum it up. I think the 14 Pro Max is the better one for sure, but the 13 Pro Max is probably a better deal when it comes down to it. So that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.